If you are not following Laura or myself yet, here's all of our social media, contact information, as well as if you'd like to follow along with Acorn Studio, in the top right-hand corner is a QR code to follow us there. And then if you're not part of our Facebook group yet, please join. It's really cool. We do some recaps of everything that we've learned. People are, introducing themselves. It's also just a great way to kind of connect with people here outside of these sessions. So feel free to join. If you want to learn more about Instagram, if you haven't watched it yet, or if you didn't get to make it to our one of our previous grow sessions, we have a whole thing on how to do an Instagram audit. It is on our YouTube channel. QR code is at the bottom here. Highly recommend taking a look at it. We get pretty deep. So let's begin. So how to create Canva templates for Instagram. Before we begin, before we get into any of it, I want to just explain a little bit some of the graphics that Instagram has, some of the different dimensions. So like most social media platforms, there's different sizes of graphics and different features. So with Instagram, you have stories, you have reels, you have ads, and then you have like your feed posts. So the feed posts, they can come in basically 3 different sizes. We have the landscape, portrait, and then your typical square. Then you have your reels video and your stories, and those are like the tall ones. And then you have your thumbnail, which is the graphic that you have on your portfolio, as well as your highlight covers. Before we dig in, before we go deep into creating templates, I just want to go over some, basic graphic design 101. So number 1, keep things away from the edge. This is a really good rule to follow to make sure things aren't really close to the edge. It gives it a little bit more buffer, and overall, it just creates a cleaner look. Please make sure that the title that you have on your graphic is legible when it's small. When you're seeing it on a computer like this, it's very easy to read, it's bigger, but when you actually are viewing it on your phone from your profile view, it's smaller. So you want people to pull out that key title. If you have other smaller text on it, that's okay, but whatever you want people want to grab attention, you want to have that font legible. And then please use contrasting colors. Again, if you've been with us before, and if you know me, I'm a huge stickler for color. And if you are layering color, please just make sure that there is enough contrast so the text is legible. So rule of thumb, if you have a dark background, you want to have lighter text. If you have light text, if you have dark text, you want to have a light background. Okay. So I know that was super short, probably the shortest one I've ever done, because I want to make sure we have lots of time to go through a demo. Let's start at the very beginning. When you go into Canva, you're going to have your home screen. This will have a quick little preview of all the different types of graphics that you can have, as well as all the new features that they're adding. I'm not sure if anybody has spent some time, but a lot of new AI tools, which is really, really cool. And then some of your recent designs. So before we get into it, there is a new feature called a brand kit. I will let you know that this is a paid feature, but it's really amazing because it allows you to have your entire color palette for your brand, as well as a place to store all of your logos, to assign all of your fonts, and then store any photos you can put in your brand voice, which is brand new. I haven't done that one yet. And then any graphics or icons. So this is a great tool to have, easily accessible for when you need to put in your color palette for a new design. Another thing we have too, which I know we've gone over in the past, is having a folder. So this folder is great for all of your templates, all of any of your working projects. If you have any documents, this is another place that you can store images and graphics just to help keep you organized. Please name all of your folders, all of your files. You'll thank yourself in the future. So what I want to do is I'm actually going to create a new template. So we've created templates before. We have the Instagram post, Instagram reels. We have a great example, Facebook posts, Instagram stories, and then Instagram highlight graphics. Now you'll notice that I don't have a portrait post. So we're actually going to create a brand new one. So while I'm in this folder, I'm going to go add new, design, and then create new. So this will give you a whole bunch of listed ones. I don't see the Instagram one that I want, so I'm going to go to a custom size. Now the width is 1080 and the height is 1350 pixels. Okay, so see, it does have the Instagram post portrait. So I can click that one, creating design, and here we go. First thing I'm gonna do is name my project. So Garden Grows, Instagram template, portrait. Okay, so I have a blank canvas, and I know sometimes people look at blank canvases and don't know where to start. Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure my brand kit is set up properly. So I'm going to go over here on the left-hand side to brand. I have all of my brand kits here. I'm going to select Garden Grows. Oh, perfect. It's already selected. And I have all of my logos, all of my color palettes and fonts readily available for me. So let's just start with changing the background up on this guy. So I'm gonna change the background. I have all of my palette here. Again, so if I clicked this one, I can select different ones, but I am on this one. So let's do a green background. Now let's create a post. Garden Grows recently came out with a new service to create custom wedding flowers. So let's create a post on that one. Now I know I want a really bold title. I want to show a picture of flowers so people can connect the two. So I have this one saved in my recently used. Great ways to find images. So if I go into elements and I'm going to do wedding flowers. So let's go into photos and see which one I like. So I actually really like this one instead. So I'm going to click and drag over, and this is going to be my background. So because this is a busier background, I want to have a box over top to put all of my text. So let's go back to elements, shapes, and I'm going to use this one. Make it centered. And a new feature that Canva added is I can actually now round the corners on this edge, because that's kind of how I've been doing all of my graphics. So I'm going to go into the border style up here and just round the corners slightly. I want to make sure that this brown is part of my color palette, but I'm actually going to make it lighter. Go to this one. All right, so now I have a base of where I'm going to put my text. Let's go into add some text. And I have my Garden Grows fonts right here. So I'll select that one. Let's create a title. I want to target brides and grooms. So 2025 or 2025 brides and grooms. I'm going to make that a little bit, make that stand out a bit more. Change the line space slightly. And let's put this guy at the very top. Next up, I want to tell people that we're offering a new service. So now offering, make this a tad bit bigger. Want this to be all capitals so I can easily toggle over here, make that a bit more bold. And then what I'm going to do is copy this because I want the same text. I'm going to tell people what I'm selling. So custom wedding flowers. When you're moving stuff around too, see all these like little purple lines that are coming up? It's almost like little helpful guides. So if I want to make sure something is center, it helps me guide that through. So we're going to go custom wedding flowers. Do line space, a little bit smaller. Next I want to do is I want to add a call to action underneath. So let's add some more body text. I want to tell people to read more information in the caption below. So I'm going to go more info in the caption below. Now to break up the text, I kind of want to make this look like a button. So I'm going to capitalize this guy, bold. Then what I can do to this, instead of actually trying to create a button underneath it, I can go to effects while I have the text selected. Effects, you have all of these options here. I'm going to go and add a background to it. Now I definitely don't want this yellow. I'm going to make it white. Let's make it round like a button and create that spread. See how it's just adding a little bit of separation. So I have my design. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. And there we go. Now, because when you're viewing something on Instagram, like on your profile, automatically you see a square. So you're not going to see the full portrait or any other different dimensions. It's going to be a square when you're viewing someone's profile. So I want to make sure that this design looks good in a square, even though it's in a portrait design. So a little trick that you can do is I'm going to add a square, make sure it's centered. So put that right in the center. I'll stretch it all the way, keeping that square all the way to the edge. Now I know you're not going to have this square the entire time. But what I'm going to do is go to File. I'm going to go to View Settings, Show Rulers and Guides. It took me a very long time to find this tool, and I've been preaching it to everybody who will listen because it will save you so much time and trial and error. Pull from the top, you'll get this guide that shows up, and you're going to pull it to the top of that square. And then you're going to do the exact same to the bottom of the square. Now we're going to delete the square, and we have these really cool guides. These will not show up in your design. You can either do this before you start designing, or you can do it afterwards just to double check. But this shows you what your square is actually going to look like and what people will see when they're viewing it on a profile. So because we wanted to make sure, like, what happens if you accidentally made this really, really big? People aren't going to see this top space or the bottom. They'll only see the sides. So I want to make sure it looks really good within that square. Another benefit of having these guides, if I was to go create another design, go create another page, the guides stay the same. So you don't have to do that for every single design. So this is my first design. What does everybody think? I think this is a good way to promote a new service. We still have lots of time. I want to create another one and pulling from designs that I've actually already done for Garden Grows. So another one that another service that I really want to promote is the fact that we created a wedding arrangement catalog. You know, it's a free download. It's great for people to see what we have coming for 2025. Yeah, so we're going to create another graphic for it. So I think I'm going to change it up from green and probably use this brown that I have. I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to go over to my projects, go into my folders, and then I'm going to find the Gardens Grow folder. So this is the folder that had, you know, all of those subcategories. So we have like our sales catalog, seasonal magazine. This also has any previous designs that you've done. I'm going to go into the wedding arrangement catalog that I've done. And I actually designed the catalog within Canva. I exported it as a PNG. So I have all of these images. So in this graphic, I want to show what the catalog actually looks like. So I'm going to click that, click this image. And let's make this a bit smaller. Let's show a couple other pages. I'm going to show this one, and let's make this a bit smaller. And then I also want to show, let's do this one. Okay, so now I have 3 pages that they get like a sneak peek from. Make it look a little bit better. I'm gonna turn that. I'll turn this one. And just make these a little bit smaller. But I don't want them over top of this sheet. Obviously, I want this one first. So there's a few quick commands that you can do to bring this to the front. But what I'm actually going to do is go position, layers. So I can bring this to the very front by selecting this button, or I'm going to go to layers and I can see all of the elements that I have. When you kind of hover over top of them, the actual element will highlight. So I'm going to move that one all the way up to the front. This is actually really helpful if you have a whole bunch of elements. Instead of trying to, figure out which one's where, you can see the exact layering process. Okay, so now my audience will have a quick preview of what this catalog is going to look like. I'm going to add a title. So let's go back to text, add a title. I'm going to say wedding arrangement catalog. Make this a bit bigger, more bold. Let's bring this guy down here. Now, see, I have a dark background, so I'm going to make this text white. There's a lot of line space here. Make this a bit smaller. And because I want to make sure this is staying in the box, it's hard for me to make this title bigger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a little bit smaller so I can make this title bigger. Move it up a small bit. Let's move this up. All right, we got some empty space here that we got to fill. So let's do another one. I'm going to add some body text. I want people to know that this is the new 2025 catalog. Make this white as well, bold, and let's make this capitalized and a bit bigger. I want to add, a little more flair to this text. So I'm going to go to effects and let's curve it. See what happens. Ooh, a little too much. Let's do less curve. Just give it a little bit. All right, and that looks pretty cool. But I think I want to do a little bit more. I might actually, let's see, like that a little bit longer. And I like what I did up here by adding this button. So I'm actually going to select this. I'm going to copy it. And let's bring it down here. I don't want it to say that though. I'm going to tell people that it's a free download. So download for free. And just make it a little bit bigger. All right, and it's staying within our guide. Our little guide's here, so that's awesome. All right, what do we think about this? Let's go over to Reels. So I'm gonna go back to my folder. So we've done some of this before. We've created an Instagram Reels cover like template. It's also really good to have templates like this because if you are, designing, you don't have to think of stuff on the spot. You can create some of these templates and then just change the title as you need to go. So we've done templates like this before, and we wanted to make sure that it was super simple. It matched with the text that we had. Oh, and look, I already have my little grids in here. Look at me all well prepared. So I've made sure because, this template is a lot longer. But again, if you have it viewed within your Instagram profile, like if someone's going over to your profile, they'll only see that square. So we want to make sure that all the proper information is seen properly, no matter where they land on it. So we kept it super simple. We have the Garden Grows font down at the bottom. We've created a really nice bold title because videos for Garden Grows is something we really want to promote. And that's kind of, where we've been getting a lot of our traffic. So the bigger the title that we have, the easier that people can recognize what the video is about. So when we're creating all of these, this is something that can be imported when you finish creating your video. But sometimes, we've actually used Canva to create some of our own videos and to add some of our text. We wanted a specific font. So what we did is we put everything in here. So as for example, here's a little video that we put together of just touring our greenhouse. We have our own text that we put on top. We didn't like any of the font that Instagram had, so this is why we have created our own. Then you can easily export this video, upload it into Instagram, pair whatever audio you are feeling, and easily publish.